Welcome to ABB's HR Connect, a web series which podcasts the employability skills requirement from various industry experts organized by HR Club of Acharya Bangalore Business School. Welcome you to ABB's HR Connect. Today among our midst we have Balasubramaniam M, Managing Director, XecTalent Advisor Private Limited, Bangalore. He has over 30 years of industry experience across engineering, HR and technology domains. So it's a pleasure to have you today on this day.
Pleasure to be with you here.
Thank you, sir. So please share us on your view, what are the skills required for the students to address the challenging business needs and emerging business functions?
At this stage, we are in a globally connected world. Everything is global. Today, I can sit here and know what is happening across the world in my area of interest. So, as a young B school graduate, the one thing which I would suggest to anyone across different levels is your ability to network. Network with people across geographies. Don't have any inhibitions when you reach it. Oh, will he accept? Again, networking is a very subjective term. The intensity varies. It's just not have the person in your LinkedIn network or any of your social media sites. How are you meaningfully engaging with that person? Are you giving something what that person looks for? Or are you trying to add value to what that person who you wish to be connected with? If you are able to add value to what he is doing, thereby enriching yourself, I think networking is one skill which is evergreen. And we have historical reference, you look at business history, the ability to connect through various. It could be a professional interest, it could be a personal interest, you could be doing a project in Web 3.0, or simple, you are an animal lover, you connect with like-minded people and try and see how you could add value to yourself and add value to them. That's one skill which definitely I would wish anyone. These are skills which are pretty easy to develop. You need not be an extrovert to do that. You can be an introvert, and I've seen introverts engage more deeply with their connects. And it also doesn't mean that you have 20,000 connects. No, you could have just 300 or 400 connects and engage meaningfully with them. It could also be probably dropping a hi, hello, a happy birthday message, or a congratulations on a work anniversary, anything like that. So, what is the second part of the question?
So it is good to be introvert.
It's definitely good to be. I've seen CEOs, business leaders who are introverts and they have been successful. So introvert is nothing bad and extrovert is nothing great. Each one has its own merits, and these are two different paths to success. So this one is your personality trait, this is how you are made. And the other one is that you try to expand your horizons, try and connect, you could be connected to anybody for that matter. So to that extent, I was driven down today to the institute. I engaged in a meaningful conversation with the driver, tried to understand his problem statement and say that, hey, is there anything I can do for you? So that's typically, it's been connected. And the second part is, what are the new emerging areas in business? So if I have to come to that, one is we need to accept the reality that the world is a global platform. You're no more restricted by your geographical boundaries. And you could aspire, align yourself, and look at yourself as the perfect person for any role anywhere, so long as the labor laws in that geography permit. And today, there is a great demand for professionals with STEM skills, as they call it: science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So if you are a techie, today we are having a lot of work options where I was discussing when I was traveling to ABBS, that there are roles offered for developers of organizations which are not even registered in India. So I'm handling one such, where this company is a bank, is a community bank which does lend small amounts for small entrepreneurs to set up maybe a retail shop or a bouquet shop or a grocery shop on a small scale in a small community location. And their lending platform is developed in Bangalore. Just the 5 of the techies, good, robust technology stack. And these gentlemen are directly working with their reporting manager in the US. So It's a completely different. It's not a conventional organization. You are a freelancer. You choose your time to work. Your deliverables are clear, and you need to spend time enhancing your technology skills. So, coming back to the number of to the areas where students can aspire, it could be anything from development. You can be in as far as the software and technology space is concerned. You can aspire for a career in DevOps, quality, process excellence, and with more than 1,000 global captives coming to India, I think the opportunities are enormous. It's left to you. And that's one more thing. These come with a rider wherein your every year you need to really update you need to spend money to update your skills. So what I tell, even which I practice at home with my own daughter who is a techie, is that set aside a good proportion of your post-tax earnings for reskilling yourself. And these are marketable skills which would get visible to you when you're working in a particular area of interest. It could be upskilling yourself in a contemporary technology, getting onto GitHub, contributing effectively to projects, and basically ensuring that the world knows what you're doing. And today there are n number of platforms which promote knowledge sharing within the ambit of the non-disclosure agreement what you sign with your employer. So employment itself is going to undergo a major change, and the work atmosphere is going to be a hybrid. You have physical and virtual, or it will be completely virtual as well. When you want only one particular element of your work being outsourced to India, because I come from the outsourcing and technology industry, I can talk with a great deal of authority in that area. It's pretty much the world is your canvas. You can do anything. So these emerging areas, it could be anything what you could look at. You need to be having your ear to the ground.
Thank you, sir. And your company being preferred partner for complex technology hire, and you have hired over 100 leaders across the different functionalities. So in your rich experience, having 3 decades of experience in this hiring process, what are the skills the leader has to possess?
Definitely, working in a multicultural environment is a essential skill. It's not a preferred skill anymore. With businesses becoming global, understanding the nuances of multiple societies, APAC to Eastern Europe, Western Europe, Africa, Latin America, then you have North American region. It's familiarity with multiple cultures is going to be a essential element of a person's knowledge base and a skill category. Multicultural working environment, and our own cultures are evolving by the day. Our own Indian cultures, you have a very strong middle class with adopting Western values, and the way my parents treated me is way different from the way I treat my own child, and her expectations from me are different from what I had from my parents. So with our own societies evolving, I think familiarity with one's own culture, what is happening in one's own backyard, is probably more important. Yes, of course, I would want people to know the history behind why it is happening, and more importantly, try and look at areas outside your own domain and understand society with a much broader perspective. That is one skill I definitely expect all leaders to have, perspective being global. More importantly, they should have ability to adapt, because how business was done 5 years back is radically different from how it is going to be done post-pandemic. And pandemic is one thing which just shook everyone and probably took many unawares. So the idea of physically being present, the manager's role, a leader is a manager at the end of the day, that itself is evolving. You need to build in a lot of trust and faith in your team. You need to build that connect with your team, which will largely be virtual. You may hire a team member who probably you may never meet during your tenure or in that role. And more importantly, ability to learn enormously, pick up things on the go. And of course, I would the advice I give to my daughter is what I would also give to any potential future leader, wherein they need to invest in learning. It could be anything. It could be learning about a new market, learning about your own business life cycle, your own product life cycle, your own changing portfolios of work, and more importantly, looking at your team with a completely different lens. Like, for example, diversity and inclusion. These are areas, these are buzzwords, but then the beauty of Indian society is that, and of course, evolving societies around the world, is that we have this imbibed right in our DNA by way of not just going by paper qualifications, but by looking at the softer aspects of a person in terms of their emotional quotient, their psychological makeup, and their own journey, how they have come up from where they were to where they are. Like, for example, in my team, in one of my employments, I had campus hiring being driven by a armed forces veteran, and he did a neat job of it. And he had absolutely, when I hired him for the job, he asked me this, मुझे तो इसमें exposure ही नहीं है. He was an army veteran, and I said, I think that is your strength. So why don't you get down and do it? It is like marshalling troops. And campus hiring in IT outsourcing companies is a very, very challenging work, because A, you hire people across anything 10th and beyond. So how are you going to locate them? How are you going to assess potential? Because at that level, it is more of assessment of potential rather than analysis of track record and reference checking. Again, campus comes with different flavors. You have diploma hiring, you have graduate hiring, you have technical graduate hiring, then in that you have premium institute hiring, then you have one more layer, executive MBA hiring, wherein you go to management institutes whose students would have undergone maybe a ISB or an executive MBA from any of the IIMs or any of the top management institutes. What kind of roles, what kind of people need to be looked at for senior management roles, because talent pipeline and talent supply chain would continue to remain a mystery for many a business leader who is not grounded. So I think the skills I look for leaders is ability to assimilate and look at a multicultural platform, and of course give focus on talent at different levels. Not all can be hired from outside, quite a few need to be nurtured from within. I think I would conclude my answer to your question.
Thank you, sir. Since you have said emotional quotient is important for next generation people, so since I have done my PhD on emotional intelligence, so can you please say how good it is important for the future managers?
Definitely, with attention spans coming down, if I come across a WhatsApp forward which goes beyond my screen, I will push it for later. It depends on my mood. More importantly, I would like to answer your question this way, wherein I look at emotional quotient as something, ability to move from one failure to another with the same level of enthusiasm. That is what defines an entrepreneur, which I am, number one. Number two, emotional quotient would typically be your ability to be prepared for the long run and treat every failure, not be too depressed by a failure, not to be too excited by a success. Because at the end of the day, you have to work for what you want to achieve. And in that way, resilience and increasing complexity in the business environment. You have today, in my kind of a business, you have Data Privacy Act 2019 which is coming in. I'm hiring an engineering head for a med tech company where which is going to be a multi-platform, multi-tenant platform, where you have insurance companies, pharma companies, diagnostic centers, then government's own health ID which is coming up. Then you have government which is a stakeholder by way of identity management, and it generates a mountain of data. So when a data scientist will have a field day in terms of trying to give inputs to various tenants in the platform so that they can customize products for each of their target segments. Now you take a case where you have medical insurance. Now medical insurance is given by a health insurance company largely for inpatients. Now suddenly if they say no, we would also want to give it only for outpatients, then the market explodes. So ability to look at opportunities. Emotional quotient definitely is one, and second is your opportunity can be knocking at your door in different forms. Your ability to identify that and ensure that either you convert any adversity, either you look at it as an adversity or you look at it as an opportunity disguised as an adversity. So it all depends on how you look at it. That calls for deeper understanding of your own self, deeper understanding of the society in which your organization works, the geography in which your organization works, and the evolving business environment. So I think I would look at leaders who have this kind of a perspective. And more often than not, they come back and answers questions. They find out answers for questions which they had, and how they go about finding those answers will determine how successful they are. So that's typically what I look for in leaders skill is something which can be picked up on the way. So that's so the perspective is what I really look at.
Thank you so much, sir, for your sharing, and you have a rich experience on this, and you are an entrepreneur.
I'm an eternal learner, so that's something which I still even today I do reverse mentoring, in the sense that I have a person who is about 20 years younger to me. He mentors me on quite a few things. So and I'm myself doing another course in law, which is unrelated, something which I have not done. So something or the other you need to formally learn. Every year, at the end of the year, I say, is there something which I have learned new, which probably I was not aware earlier? Then I should not only check that box, it should also be something which is relatable to what you're currently doing.
Thank you so much. Nice to hear from you.
Thanks a lot.